very, very soon. I think that it would be a really great way to end off this week. So, for now, we're going to be addressing more about what's in the game, currently in the demo, ideas, thoughts, all of those things. First, I want a ship that you guys want me to fly. Do you guys want me to fly out with the Sentinel, which is what a lot of people end up discovering the first time? Do you want me to go the traditional Interceptor? Or do you want me to go with something a little bit new with the Assault Fighter? YouTube appears to be up. Hello, YouTube. I do not have a chat window open for you guys, so I'll do that right now, just to make sure that we can hear what the voices over there are saying as well, because it's important. So, one moment. Glad to see that we made it. Perfect. All right, pop out chat. Awesome. Chairman Meow over on YouTube says, Assault or Sentinel? Sentinel. All right. And we've got Interceptor, Assault Fighter, Assault Fighter, Assault Fighter, Assault Fighter. I think Assault Fighter wins. We got a lot of people saying Assault Fighter, so let's take this bad boy out for a spin. So as of right now, in the demo, you can't really see too much about how the stats of the Assault Fighter are going to vary from the other ships. Don't worry too much about that for now. We're still heavily in development of making the ships each their own. All of the medium ships are going to feel a little bit more similar in nature. The main distinguishing factors are going to be those devices and the starting equipment that they have. So with the Assault Fighter, we're going to go ahead and launch right out here. We're also going to make sure that we are not stuttering so much. Oh yeah, that's such a more smooth stream than it was last week. Oh my goodness, that's so much better. Alright, so with the Assault Fighter, we start off with a coil gun, a blaster, and a railgun. Oh yeah. Those are all feeling really good. Do we get a ship designed specifically for ramming? You know, I actually did a ramming run in EVERSPACE 1 that I thought was amazing, even though the game's not necessarily designed for ramming. And I think that there would be some pretty cool twos to allow to create more of an impact in EVERSPACE 2. You know, just a couple little things here and there I think could do wonders for a system like that. So we'll see in time. I like that suggestion though. Let's take out some of these drones. Also, in EVERSPACE 2, you get to pick up some stuff. Like this little thing that we can launch over there. Create an explosion if we had a guy close enough to us. There wasn't anything in the area. Just kind of showing you. And also we have these cracks, much like in any adventure game. You can destroy it for dem secrets. Are there no items in here? I have been foiled. That's okay. Alright, so let's go looking around and just seeing what all these indicators mean. Here we have some copper deposits. Just pretty standard resource that when you blast it, it gives you stuff. Filling up our inventory. So as you can see here, we've got copper, which we can sell for 30 each, or 420 credits in total. Same thing with the iron, because we haven't balanced the cost of goods yet. And then finally this wiring kit, which we picked up a little bit earlier, that we're all going to go sell somewhere. Chairman Meow says, so will it be open world story based? Absolutely. Yep. It's going to have a campaign that we're shooting for 20 to 30 hours of content that you can branch off of from any point in time and just basically go anywhere and everywhere to your liking to go exploring all these different locations, which, of course, there's going to be a lot more than these. This is just kind of an example of where you're going to be at and what you're going to be doing. We'll be navigating a couple of these spaces just to show you some of the little mission ideas we have in mind, as well as how you're going to be approaching the game itself. Just tried Coilgun T1 with with 3 fire rate mods in EVERSPACE 1 and it was glorious. That sounds great. That sounds actually fantastic. Oh my gosh. Alright, so let's grab this ancient damage glyph. This is very different from glyphs in EVERSPACE 1, whereas before you unlocked them and could utilize their power through the course of an entire run. Here, it's more like a power-up. And so long as we're holding it, we have a significant damage bonus until we drop it or it vanishes. So there are not too many more enemies here, but we'll see if we can fly over here and take out this guy with relative ease. Nice and simple. This madcap also drops a pod whenever they've been destroyed. And no loot, apparently. That's okay. Well, let's go see what's over at this base here. Marcus Carlson, looks weird how the spacecraft moves sideways using a rear thruster. Why not add side thrusters when strafing is such a common move? I think that in a lot of sci-fi experiences, there are liberties that are taken in order to make a very pleasing style, especially in the gaming world. We're not shooting for like hyper-realism or anything like that. We're shooting to just have a lot of fun. So much like in a Star Wars-y environment where, you know, your X-Wings and your A-Wings have rear thrusters only and no side thrusters, that's kind of what we're aiming for. We just want your ship to look really cool, even though it looks more like a fighter jet, if you will, than a spacecraft. But this is just the design decision that we chose and the direction that we're taking the game. Alright, let's take out these drones. Also, in those moments, I was grabbing barrels that barrel bomb shooter turret was throwing at me and throwing them back at them. I don't know if you caught that, but there's some pretty great features with being able to grab and throw and all those different elements as well. Cromit, yeah, we actually had a little bit of a kink in the system for YouTube. We'll try and nail that down in the future, but you're absolutely right. But it is on Twitch and Steam as well, so people can watch it from lots of different locations. Don't let that low view count distract you at all. Alright, let's go through this cave and start blasting away these things and hopefully get some loot. Alright, some scrap metal. We'll activate this drone here. More stuff. An energy core. Yes. Here we go. A new homing missile launcher. What do we got here? We're going to go ahead and replace these mine launchers with more homing missile launchers. That way we can just fire lots and lots of missiles. And let's see. We already have a railgun. I think it's over here. Yep. It's the exact same thing. Anything better about this energy core? It's the same. So all this gear down here is everything in my cargo that I've been finding out in the world. These are all our modules on board the ship, which are the same for every single ship you will have in the game, but diversified as you play into your own unique play styles. Some modules are going to be better suited for certain classes, whereas other ones not so much. You have consumable options, you have primaries and secondary options. All of these slots are going to vary based on what class you choose as well. A gunship, for example, a heavier ship, I should say, is going to have a lot more slots because it's just bigger, versus something that's maybe a light fighter, of course. It's going to have a lot less slots, but it's going to make up for in speed and versatility and other aspects. So here, let's see. Let's keep moving around here. Show off a little bit more in this area. We have this little indicator at the top that says you can leave the location and enter super light travel by holding down C. So let's do that. See, the planet in the background is about to get a whole lot bigger. Maybe too big. But this is where we are traveling in the new open space of EVERSPACE. So as you can see on our map, like this planet is now behind us, quite literally, and we are boosting away from it as it gets smaller. And we can freely travel here and go wherever we want, or we can choose these locations and just warp to them immediately. So I have it locked on, I don't have to do anything, it'll just take me there, or I can hold down the R button and just get there immediately. So if you want it to be a little bit more realistic and wait to get to your location, you can do so. You could encounter unknown signals. You could get interdicted. There could be all sorts of various things that could happen in that. So if you're a patient gamer, there might be opportunities there. Or if you really just want to complete that mission or that job that you took on, you can just skip right ahead, get to where you're going, and nothing worried about at all. Alright, let's see what's in this area. We've got some scientists. We also have this cruise drive, which allows us to skip on over inside of an area so that you don't have to just use your boost over and over and over again. This was something that was very common in EVERSPACE 1. Oh man, we're getting so many questions and I'm just not even reading the chat. Could you show the cockpit view? Unfortunately, I can't because it's not available in this build, but rest assured we're working on it. In fact, we are creating... Actually, I need to catch myself. We'll have more about cockpits later this week. No microtransactions. Absolutely not. No way, no forever. No forever is the answer. What difficulty am I playing? The only difficulty, just the baseline standard of the experience. We will play with difficulty options through the course of development and find what's a best fit. Let's see. You guys thinking about adding some really silly weapons? I'm sure that we'll come up with a lot of silly ideas for weapons. If we implement them or not, well, that's going to take a joint effort. So, we'll see. Personally, I think it would be hilarious if we had some sillier weapons that you could customize. But we want to make sure that the game is a very enjoyable experience for everybody at the end of the day. And if it makes it outside of that realm of being like intentional design, then we'll probably not do it. Alright, let's fly back out here. And so we got this mission flying into the star where we have to turn on these solar panels. Just in a little objective, he said, hey, we're doing research on this big old star. That's a big old star. And we need to gather more data. So we need to align the solar panels, which is basically just turning them to face the star. Not crash into them, though. Here we go. Number 2. We'll have one more to go. I'm also going to do this really quick. This is just a little side sort of mini game here where we're just going to do a quick little fly challenge. My goodness. I missed a ring. I missed a ring. That's fine. I missed another ring. This ship handles a little differently than the Sentinel does. Alright, so we got 28 out of 31 rings. You'd probably get some type of reward for doing something like that, but rest assured, we're going to make these little side missions and whatnot, things that you just find out in the wild, quite engaging. There might even be races where you're flying against other computer-controlled players to, you know, be a game of chance. You bet some monies, then you see how maneuverable you are, how skilled you are at the game. Let's use the blaster, because this is a nice up-close and personal weapon. As you can see here, the blaster has really high energy DPS and a pretty solid kinetic DPS. And what that's telling you is that the damage output is far stronger against shields because that energy DPS is higher, and it's less on the hull because the kinetic DPS is lower. But if you do a comparison with the other elements here that we have on us, like 36 is still higher than 32, and the coil gun is technically a little bit stronger, but the energy is a lot higher than what it is in the blaster. So we're just going to go ahead and use the blaster to take this guy out up close. This is going to be a bit more consistent for us overall. And because boosting and ammo are no longer tied to the same energy pool like they were in EVERSPACE 1, now we can actually boost and fire at the same time without worrying too much about running out of energy too quickly. So if somebody is doing some maneuvers like this, you can actually keep up with them a little bit better. Let's change targets. Go after this guy. Let's just make him flimsy. So what we did is we popped an EMP that just basically disabled this guy completely. And we also triggered a weapon overdrive that increased our damage. Oh, we just found a legendary pulse laser. That's wonderful. That is in fact wonderful. Let's look at this. So this legendary pulse laser is called the Benka Comet X1. It's also a level 8. Oh my gosh. 10% chance to regenerate 20% of the kinetic damage dealt as whole hit points with each hit. 10% chance to regenerate 20% of whole hit points with each kill. And plus 10% experience per kill. Yeah, we're absolutely using this. This is a great weapon. And obviously we haven't made it more stylistically appropriate for being a legendary, but rest assured we are working on a lot of different unique visual qualities to weapons so that you're going to not only feel cool, but you're going to look cool too. When will the vlog be uploaded? Well, the last vlog was the end of last week, so I would say a strong guess would be the end of this week. Good question. The graphics are awesome. Thank you. We're still working on it. There's a lot of things to still tweak, tons of things to add. But thank you. We really appreciate that. Alright, let's see if we have anything new that we can purchase here. We have some better kinetic plating, which we're just going to buy and equip. So we don't even have to worry about our cargo. It just goes straight over to our modules. And just we're done. We're happy with the upgrade. And now we're just going to sell a bunch of stuff that we're not using. Wait a second. No. That was the wrong button. We want to sell, not equip. Sell this, sell that. Don't need it. Just getting rid of everything in our inventory. You could also sell specific amounts of items if you wanted to do that instead. But I'm really just selling all of it. Because now we have a little over 2,000 credits, which we can use to outfit ourselves even more. Oh, one other thing at this base. Not only do you have an option of trading in this particular location, but we'd also have a slot to manage our ship and our devices, maybe our perks of our hero himself. All of those different traits, you could be able to get into these elements whenever you're at a station. Some of them might even be accessible outside of stations, just when you're flying around in space. But we're figuring out all those things to balance accordingly. You also have your map, which of course you can see basically at any time. And then finally you have these missions. This is going to be where you're choosing the various jobs, or maybe have a specific side mission based on a story arc or something like that, to catapult you forward, to give you more things to accomplish through your gaming experience. Matt Samaria, I see you diving on over to all the facilities. Thank you so much for your support in doing so. Guys, Matt Samaria is actually one of our community dudes. Goes to conventions. He helps us out a lot. He's a moderator. So if you see Matt Samaria Gaming answering questions and whatnot, know that he does work for Rockfish Games. He's a true hero among us. Alright, so we've got one more solar panel to align. We're going to go into cruise drive, so we just move a lot faster until we get into close proximity of enemies. Perfect. We'll flip this solar panel on. We'll see what this exchange is between the scientists and myself for completing this task. That was the last one. Guys, I'm done. Guys, it's time for my paycheck. And they say, unfortunately, we realize this sun is rubbish. Already on their way to a different system to find a better one. Well, that mission turned sour. What about my money? I'm afraid our budget does not account for subpar research conditions. To not part in ill terms, though, we are transferring you the amount we normally pay to test subjects. Thanks again for your time. Farewell. Youch. 80 credits for all of that hard work. All right, so we're going to look at something we haven't looked at before in the other streams, actually. We see this little floating power core here. And this is kind of reminiscent of a derelict colonial station from EVERSPACE 1. We've got some containers around here to pick up and loot. Pulse laser there, nice. We can just sell that for more scrap. We have these power cores, though, and we have these power sockets. Pretty straightforward. You grab one, you take it over to the power socket, and when you get close enough, voila, it opens some things up. Now that one was empty, so I'll open the one that actually has stuff in it. But there will be lots of little puzzles and mini-games to figure out along the way. Ooh, an autocannon. I'll take it. What do we got? Plus 10% experience per kill. You know, I think we're gonna replace our railgun with it. I think it's just better overall. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. So yeah, not a bad find. We have this other power core, but I don't think there's any more power sockets in this area. Sometimes there might be a bunch of stuff in the way blocking your path into a site like this. Say there's debris. You'd actually be able to use your little grapple mechanic on the front of your ship to throw the debris out of the way. Or maybe if it was stuck on a wall, you'd be able to grab onto it, pull back your ship, and rip it off of the wall so that you gained entry into a site such as this. So there'll be a lot of little tools and uses for you in EVERSPACE 2. Alright, let's head over to this unknown station, but we're just going to let things go this time. We'll see what happens. Please tell me this mission isn't over yet. Oh, I'm sure that's not the end of that mission line. I'm sure of it. Alright, we are getting an interception here. Interdiction. So what we have to do is we have to track this movement with our mouse. Make sure it's green, but you know what? I'm just going to pretend that I'm really bad at this and I'm going to fail. And we'll see what happens. Alright. So just a little assault from a couple little guys. Nothing too crazy. Thankfully we got one of the easier ones to handle. Let's use our new Gatling. Oh, that dishes out some pretty good damage. I'm quite pleased. Vardum Crystal Shards. Very good. Alright, now where were we going? I think we were going that direction, so let's keep going that way. Right back into Super Light. Yes, here we are. Perfect. Can you pull debris and use it as a projectile against a target? Absolutely you can. Absolutely. Great question. It's a lot of fun to do that as well. In the demo, it's a little hard to pull off, but it will definitely be a viable tactic for sure. Alright, let's see what's at this unknown signal. You see we're slowly getting further from the sun and closer to that planet. So we are, in fact, at this point. Everything in the background is actually there. It's not just some generated backdrop for you to look at. But we got this little base, so let's go ahead and raid it. Because their stuff should be our stuff. That's how looters, shooters in space should work. Let's go ahead and take out this Outlaw Madcap. Oh wow, this legendary pulse laser is kind of broken. It's very effective. Probably just use it for everything here. Oh yeah, that's real nice. It doesn't do as much damage against armor. That's because it's a pulse laser, but you know, we'll still use it, because why not? Alright, we're out of ammo. It's not doing so hot, so we're going to throw these barrels back at it. Then we're going to throw this barrel over at that turret. Took out his armor. That was really convenient. Really convenient interaction there. Perfect. Couple more guys, it looks like. Is there anything in here to take? Maybe we got some barrels that we could have some fun with. Oh! Oh, that one's spinning way too out of control. It actually pulled me downwards. Those physics, though. Alright, what do we got here? An outlaw, madcap. Alright, let's just disable all you guys and just crush you. Perfect. Ah! This is actually a new enemy type. This is the Outlaw Armor Drone. We should have focused on him first. But that guy, he gives armor to all nearby enemy units that are the same faction. So Outlaws in particular. We were fortunate that the other guys weren't too strong. We were able to blast through their armor. But traditionally, you'd probably want to focus down those armor drones. Else they're just giving more health to nearby foes, making it a little bit harder to chip down everything. Could be very nasty if it was alongside, say, a larger vessel. All right, I think that's everything in the base. Pretty happy with our exploitation of their resources. Take out this drone and maybe look at the debris over here. See if there's anything. Maybe. Oh yeah, there's some stuff. Gladly take this. Perfect. Oh look, we even found some small arms. I'm sure that those aren't illegal at all. Is there any atmosphere fights in this demo? Dan Elvist? No, unfortunately there is not. I would love to show off some atmospheric gameplay, but that is going to be for another time. Alright, let's keep going to this specific site now. We've got this trade station. I'm sure we'll have options here. Talk about some more missions and whatnot. Let me see what questions are being asked out there and making sure you're getting responded to. Will different factions fight each other? Asks Crisis 2080 over on YouTube. Yes, absolutely. In EVERSPACE 1, the GMB, a neutral faction, would constantly engage with the Outlaws, and the Outlaws would constantly engage with them, as well as the OCAR. But the OCAR and the GMB were actually aligned so that they didn't fight each other, and that's mostly because of the treaties that were going on. Now in EVERSPACE 2, we are expanding a bit with how the interactions work. We'll have more information about those interactions in time. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to tell you really badly, but rest assured there will be a lot of internal struggles between various characters and factions, and maybe even some internal disputes of the same faction. But we'll see as time will tell. Oh, excellent. A homing missile launcher that's got a little bit of rarity to it. Some sensors and a blaster. What else we got here? Oh, that's straight upgrade. We'll take it. Nothing. Same thing. Alright. I'm glad that we are by this station because we have a lot of stuff to sell. And then we'll go exploring in this area a bit. Yeah, you're welcome, Crisis. That's a good question. It's a really good question. So in case you guys don't make the funding, we'll make the funding. What are your guys' plans? Well, if we didn't, let's just assume that we didn't make the funding. For anybody who's concerned, anybody who's got like that, it's a great question to ask. Basically, because we don't take your money, it's an all or nothing Kickstarter plan, okay? So what that means is that if you're a backer right now, we don't have your money, and you still have it. Like, it's still in your pockets, still on your cards, whatever you signed up for through Kickstarter. We have not taken a dime from you. So if the Kickstarter wasn't successful, then all of that money just doesn't move. You keep it, and the project just It's cut off from Kickstarter. From that point, I can assure you that we at Rockfish Games would still produce EVERSPACE 2, but it's not going to be nearly to the production quality that we would be aiming for, and we're going to have a lot more difficulty working with you guys, the community, to make it the best game that it can possibly be. Essentially, cut off from that funding is going to hurt development considerably. That's the long and the short of it. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and by hopefully I mean it's not going to happen. Like, Kickstarter's going to be fine. Our projections are set up. We're confident that things are going to go correctly. Things are going to go well. Anyone and everyone who's excited for the tier that they have backed, don't you worry about it. We've got the game plan working. We're moving forward right on the mark. Everything's great. We'll have a lot more information to come. And we're constantly looking and evaluating at what we're doing in order to maximize everything to your guys' benefit. I'm sure that some of you have already seen it through the Kickstarter, where a lot of people were like, you know what, 40 is a lot for like getting all of this different stuff. I just want the game. Like, just straight want the game. I don't want all these bells and whistles. So you know what we did? We created a tier at 30 that just doesn't have any of the bells and whistles, and you just get the game. You don't have to worry about anything else. Like, we're listening to that feedback. We're creating those opportunities, and we will continue to do so through the course of the Kickstarter to not just benefit us, but like the focus is really on helping you guys get what you're looking for so that we can all work together on this to make it what it should be. So there you go. A great question. A really great question. Let's look at one more question. Are there any RPG-like progressions that are not tied to loot on the ships? Pilot skills or something along those lines? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Much like in a traditional RPG, your ship is, like, your ship right here is your class, right? And you're leveling up your class, right? And as a class levels up, it gains new skills and abilities. This is different from your pilot, which would be able to hone in on certain attributes, right? So your pilot's going to have a varied tech tree that you can establish from there. Your ship's going to have these customizations over here, and then you have your itemization that you're going to be able to pick and choose what modules are on what ship and what type of weapons you're using. So if you build things out correctly, you're going to have a really nice positive synergy between your items, your ship, and your pilot to make the magical things happen. There will be a lot to keep track of, but moving it, like, it'll be pretty easy to understand where you're navigating all of those spaces to bring it all together. Because, like, even with this right here, I really do wish that I could show you more about this. It's just not designed. This isn't where it needs to be, which is why it's not available in this version. But basically, through your management, you're going to see how all of your different powers, all your abilities, how your ship stats are going to be coupled together with what you're using and how it's going to be more effective or less effective based on the decisions that you've made. So lots of information will be at your disposal so that you can tweak and modify things galore. Let's go ahead and sell. Right now, it's the market is ripe for selling. All right. We have a beam laser. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and take the beam laser just to use something new, different and exciting. And a valuable cargo unit. I will absolutely take this. Now we have more cargo slots. And what's also really great about the cargo unit itself, it's not just a how many cargo slots can you hold kind of deal. The cargo units, because this one's uncommon, it actually has a modifier on it. The cargo unit. So we could actually have some really nice synergetic effects on your cargo unit that will better other equipment on your ship. Maybe there's even combinations that you could have of different modules themselves before you even get to the item choice. Lots of crazy stuff that can happen. Flat cannon for heavy class ships. The answer is a solid probably. We'll show more later regarding more weapons and ship types and all that type of stuff. A great question. A lot of people have been asking about the flat cannon. A lot of people have been asking about the heavy class ships. I implore you to prepare yourselves for this Friday. That is what I'll say to that. Let us see what else we can grab before we go. I think that's going to be it. Actually, you know what? We want this mine launcher. We haven't used one of these. We'll go ahead and swap this bad boy out. We'll go back to this. And I feel like this is a pretty good setup. We would take some jobs, but instead we're just going to go do the missions. One of the things that happened while I was answering some questions is that the manager on board this station said, hey, we've got a leak, and I need a guy to fix this. And you're like, I can fix it. He's like, you? All right. So now we're going to go fix it. Easy peasy, right? It's just a leak. So we fly up to it and we just hold F to repair. Done. Super easy, super clean. Oh gosh, we're getting fired at. That's okay though, there's a lot of G&B guys in this area. Perfect. So now we are learning that there's a madcap problem at the base. And the manager's like, well, you know, they just pass through and they steal a little bit of bandwidth. They're basically Wi-Fi hogs. Alright? They're a nuisance, but not worth the trouble. Still, they're outlaws, though, right? So anything could go sideways pretty fast. They could be dangerous. So we're going to go ahead and just take care of them. We're going to fly around the station. We're going to see where they're hunkering down, stealing that good old-fashioned Wi-Fi, and take them out. You grew up on Galaxy on Fire and Deep. Love you! We love you too. Thank you for finding us again as we move into a new territory in EVERSPACE 2 that harkens back to what we are best at. Let's take out these more outlaws. I wonder if I can get close enough to grab one of these without dying. Yes! So look, I just grabbed this mine and I can chuck it. I could throw it at somebody, take them out. Lots of interactables. In fact, let's find... Is this a cargo slot? No, it's not. Let's find some cargo slots right over here, which we can also interact with. Like, all these little pieces here. Like, we could... Whoop! Not that one. Let's see, is there anyone here? Really? The sample of this demonstration was to show being able to grapple one of these. I guess that's not a good spot to go. Maybe there's one over here. But basically, you'll be able to grapple a lot of things. That's the point. As we reach level 4. Ah, here we go. Here's a freight container. So we could pull this freight container out and take it somewhere else. Maybe we could use it as a shield against an enemy, or just go boop and just chuck it at a dude, take him out, because collision damage hurts. So those are all the madcaps. Now we're going to fix all the more leaks that have been made. We'll keep going from there. Star Wars X-Wing and others. Oh man, calling back to my childhood, dude. Yeah, no worries about that series, James Saris. It's no longer ours, and frankly, I think we're better off having moved into new territory with our new IP that we've been able to really establish and have full creative control over, not being forced into any microtransactional deals or anything like that. We're pretty happy with where we've taken EVERSPACE, and really looking forward to what we can present with EVERSPACE 2 when we're so much further along than what you're seeing here. This is just a sliver. This is just a sliver of what we're going to be offering. On sale on all platforms as Razul. Are we talking about the original EVERSPACE? I think Nightbot is confused. EVERSPACE 1 is no longer on sale. It recently ended on a sale. You could get it 80% off, but I do think that has closed, so just missed it. Unfortunate. So there are only small fighters will be larger trade or battleships. So the primary focus of EVERSPACE 2 is being a very fast-paced arcadey shooter, right? So if we were to make your vessel larger, like let's say you had full control of the battleship, the movement and the exploration of the game spaces that we're providing would change pretty dramatically. And that's not the direction that we see the game going. We would much rather have you piloting your one-man fighter, being very fast, being very agile, having a lot of tools at your disposal to navigate close-quarter combat as well as tight internal spaces. And that would completely be broken if the vessel was too large. I would say on a scale, like if we're looking at Star Wars as an example, we have ships that are about the size of like a maybe like an A-Wing is kind of the smallest you can get, all the way up to kind of a Millennium Falcon. That's kind of your realm of sizes for ships that you'll be able to pilot. But anything that larger than that, it's not really what we see the game doing. And that's why. Let's look and see what's here at this base. Just to sell a little bit more. Excellent. And then let's go find this broken drone. I'm sure something's going on here. I got the first EVERSPACE on physical disc. One of the few. Excellent. Steel case, right? These things are great. Any chance this might get some same kind of release? I know that we're looking at... Actually, I'd have to look at the Kickstarter right now. Some of the tiers, I think, have physical copies for console. I want to answer you clearly, Dennis, but... unfortunately, I don't have the information off the top of my head, so maybe Michael could help answer your question there. But that is a really good question. Any first-person view or always third-person? It will also have first-person, much like Matsumuri has already clarified, because he's awesome. Thank you, Matsumuri. Thanks for staying away from greedy monetization practices. No need to thank us. We don't want to go that route. Like, it's not even... like, it's dirty. Like, that's not what we're... I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I think it's an effective strategy for certain individuals to take their franchises. Rest assured, like, there's no issue for individuals to develop those particular systems. But what I mean to say is that for us at Rockfish Games, we value community support and interaction. And we know that from what you've said, you don't want to go that route. And frankly, we don't want to go that route either. It's just not the marketing schedule that like we want to adhere to. We're very happy with a premium model. You pay once, you play forever. It's how we grew up on games. It's how we want to just keep the ball rolling. Will you be able to fight in a team like Rogue Squadron? This is another really great question. There are companions that you will find along the way in your adventures. As far as to what capacity you'll have control over them and all those details, we will have more information at a later point in time. Oh, that's silly, frustrating answer, right? You never want to hear Dev say that. I want to know now! I don't blame you. We want to tell you right now, but the timing has to be right for us to reveal the information. Otherwise, well, we might not be able to present it in its maximum capacity, right? So there's still a lot of stuff that we're working on. There's still a lot of details that we want to clean up and make sure are the best they can possibly be, and then we will present those ideas and those details when the time is right. Now this broken drone, I don't actually want to kill him, I want him to get to his destination. Because he's going to go right here and then explode. Boom! And look at all these drones that we just disabled. So can we grab this and pull it? Oh, this thing's too heavy. No, we're not gonna be able to pull that around. I was gonna take a piece and throw it at the drones, but it's too heavy. We'll have to have a bigger ship or an upgrade to do that. Take out all these drones. How's the frame rate, by the way? Things looking a bit cleaner than last week. Certainly hope so. Alright. We got some copper deposit to take right here. Broken drone mission complete. Let's see what else. We got a couple more items, didn't we? Yeah, we got this railgun. It's okay. Blaster. It's okay. I like this beam laser, though. It's nice and solid. Let's find this shipwreck. Track IR, yes, is coming. Cooling unit, beam laser, railgun. Let's just liquidate those assets. Perfect. Do a barrel roll companion. Do a barrel roll companion. I don't think Peppy Hair's in this game, but you never know. We can certainly do aileron rolls, that's for sure. And we can also do barrel rolls, which look a lot more like this in actuality. Science! Alright, this Madcap's probably going to die before we get there because there's a lot of G&B forces. We're going to take him out, and then we're going to go exploring a little bit more in this area. Because I'm sure there's something else here that needs destroyed. Perfect. Now, we could take off the G&B. We'll probably do that later. You'll get to see how beefy those guys actually are. Let's go look at this, this warp gate. Warp gates are familiar in EVERSPACE 1. This is how you get from point A to point B. And this Outlaw Destroyer just came through it. So this is just one example. That music's intense. I like that. But this is just one example of a mini-boss that you'll come across through your experiences. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what happens as you fight them. First off, when you destroy a turret, it doesn't actually get destroyed. You can see it there now. He went and hid inside the ship. Went and hid inside. And also, we took out the armor, and these sides are going to open up that reveals this nice glowing orange bit, which is now a weak spot, and we can do a ton of damage. Let's take him out. Oh, we didn't quite take him out. We almost got him. But his turret has regenerated, so you can't just disable them from the outside anymore. You have to think a little bit more creatively, think a little bit differently this time around. But thankfully, because we hit so much of that guy's weak point, he's basically dead. We're going to let him open up one more time so you can see this. Just like that. Weak points, he's gone. Just like so. And again, that's just one example. One of the beautiful things about EVERSPACE 2 is that we're able to just do a lot more and make a lot more. A lot more. So there's going to be some nice variety in what's to come in the vastness of open space that you will be exploring and finding on your own in time. Now that with him taken down, let's see, what did we find? We found another rapid autocannon. 10% of kinetic damage bypasses the shield. Yes, please. I'll take it. Perfect. Let's head over to Outlaw Turf. Let's go see what's over there. What are we at on time? Oh, you know what? This is a really good time to jump over about the news of EVERSPACE and everything that we've been up to lately. So before we go to this home base, we are just going to take a quick little break because it's the middle of the stream, and we're just going to talk, answer questions, and all that type of stuff. So we're going to pause right here. And now let's see if I can pull this up correctly. So we can do all the fun things. Let's see, how do I do things? Let me do this. All right. So what we are going to do right now is set up, whoop. One second, I'm just preparing some elements, no big deal. We're gonna jump over to some of the stuff that we've kind of covered this week. Nothing too crazy, nothing too, you know, outlandish. But just a nice little recap of what we've been up to so that you are all aware. Here we are. Beautiful. All right, so as you can see, over on the Kickstarter, that's, one second. Let's make this left monitor just a little bit larger because it shrunk down a little bit. Whoop. Beautiful. Much better. So as you can see on the Kickstarter, we are still moving away nice and healthy. We are past the 50% Here you see it in US dollars. That's because I'm a native to the United States, as opposed to Rockfish Games, which is based out of Hamburg, Germany. So don't get confused by this value being a little bit different if you're used to seeing it in euros. The actual funding goal in euros is 450,000, but here in America, it's close to 500,000. So rest assured, things are still moving along nicely. Everything has been just dandy. Thank you, everyone, for your support through our Kickstarter. You guys have been the real rock stars, especially to the ones who have supplied a very large sum of money that are also going to have remarkable contributions to the game that I'm looking forward to see. Our largest contribution was sold out in the first week, in the first days, was Big Boss here. They're going to be designing a boss fight, and yeah, that's going to be huge. I'm really, really looking forward to that. We have one backer left to join Mission Control. We have one other individual who's backed us there. This one allows you to name and design an entire mission in the game. It's also looking forward to that. Community feedback has been just an absolute joy for me to behold as your community ambassador. You guys have brilliant fan art, fan videos. You come up with some really cool stuff, so I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun. We already have 2 backers for the Outlaw Boss. So one more slot left for that one, where you get to name and design an outlaw clan in the game. The entire clan, okay? So that might be a little bit spoilery for different factions of outlaws, but there you go. Name and design an outlaw clan in the game. You'll also have your portrait in the game as the leader of the outlaw clan. If you would like, we could probably have some flexibility with that. But definitely some really good stuff for your contributions to help make this game together with you and making it the best experience it can be. So if that seems like your cup of tea, there's only one slot left, guys. One more. We also have Deep Space Explorer. We've got 2 backers there, 3 left, where you can help name and design a planet or moon in the game. Lots and lots and stuff, but major love to you guys for diving in and helping us out there. Seriously, it is amazing. Also, I don't know how many of you saw this, but there is kind of a cheat sheet here. This video posted by this guy named Giraffosaur. Who knows who that is? But he basically covers, I basically cover the full story of EVERSPACE. If you haven't played the full game, I implore you to do so, because enjoying it yourself is the best way to like soak it all in. But if you really just can't wait, put this on your watch later before EVERSPACE 2 pops, and then watch it right before the game drops. But otherwise, we have a lot of really cool stuff to share with the story. In fact, we revealed a little bit of that with our last update. If you guys missed it, let's see, where is it at? It's loading. We're having trouble loading updates right now. Perfect. Great. Okay, well, that's fine. Basically, we had an update last week where you could essentially go into we had a vlog that talked a little bit about the story, right? And with the story, we basically revealed that the main character is kind of on the run because he's being hunted down now in EVERSPACE 2. So there's going to be a lot more to discover along that pathway, a lot more to figure out what's going on. But we see that there are companions that we'll be interacting with, some of which are returning from our adventures in EVERSPACE 1. I don't know if any of you guys saw a particular graphic in the companion list. But lots of various little details like that. And there's going to be so much more to show in coming time. Now, in regards to what's going on this week, we are preparing another vlog. It's hard to say the release schedules. I know that it's something that we would like to do on a pretty regular basis to keep you guys in the loop of everything. But rest assured, we are going to have some more info drop later this week so that you can see where development is going and just kind of get a tease of what's to come. And today, we are still just covering the basics of EVERSPACE 2 and answering all those questions out there for you guys who haven't heard of it or just getting in the loop right now so that we can all be in this joint process together. We also have some really great discussion on the Discord. I want to throw a big shout out to LOL Hype. He's known in the chat as 2lol2lameo. Really great, really cool dude. Really solid ideas. And if you're an idea guy, if you're like, oh man, it would be so cool if EVERSPACE 2 did blank, join the Discord. Even though we haven't gone into alpha yet, your ideas are very powerful and meaningful to us. So if you really are on something, get into the Discord. Start a conversation. You can't go if you're saying too much, if you're saying, if it's completely hogwash, don't worry, the community and us, we will tell you. But we want to make this game alongside you. That's why we're doing the Kickstarter as a whole. So get in there, get in a conversation. Let's do this together. Good stuff. We can decide what ships a clan has. If you buy the particular tier of the Outlaw faction, I'm sure that you could probably work it out with the creative team in the process, the development team, which I help out on the development team so that I'm not just a community ambassador and just like fed information and then I read it to you guys. I've actually been seeing the behind the scenes work, been helping implement some of those ideas. So yeah, like if you go to those respective tiers and you want to dabble in creative opportunities with us, we're going to give you as much control as we possibly can and make sure that it's the best fit in the game that it can be. So for sure. All right. Let me see what else I'm missing. Anyone else got this happening? Oh, what happened? Kickstarter seems to be down. Yeah, it just came down on me as well. Let's see. The more the better story is always super amazing. Hey, thanks. For those who played the original EVERSPACE's story, they were pretty impressed and actually enjoyed it from what I have read. That's also from the really diehard players who could actually finish the story. It seems otherwise a lot of people who struggle through the process, which is basically everyone because it's a roguelike and it's a very challenging experience, that the story, it takes a while to reveal itself. Something that I actually recommend players do is if you're playing the game, you actually finish it once and then you restart your save progress and go through it again because it's going to be a lot more fast. It's going to be much more fluid and it comes together a bit more nicely. So that final boss took me a while to figure out. Yeah, it takes a couple people. It's good stuff. Let's see. I think we've covered most of the goings on, and like I have been alluding to, guys, stay posted on Discord, on Twitter, on Twitch. I'm going to throw up this page real quick just so that you can see this and go to all these different sites. It's important. Obviously, Kickstarter on the right there, but Twitter in the middle at Rockfish Games and at EVERSPACE_game, where you're going to see all those fancy little drops there. But that Discord link, discord.gg/rockfishgames, that's where a lot of the happenings happen. Seriously, I'm always in there having a conversation with you guys. The team is all there too, so if we hit any big snags that you really, really want to know about, we can jump Michael in there, we can have Andy, we could have Hans Christian, we could have Marco, Matthias, basically anybody on the team. It's a really nice way to just be in the mix through the course of development. All right, let's get back into the game. That was a pretty good break. Let's do this. How many DLCs are planned? Oh, okay. We'll answer this one first. I think this is a really good one. How many DLCs are planned right now, and how big will they be compared to the base game? So, through the process of development, we have been in development for 1.5 years. We have a projected time period of about 2 more years ahead of us to develop the base game. We're going to be focusing on the base game. We're going to have a lot of different ideas that generate through the course of development as well, not only internally, but also from the community. And we're going to be taking those elements and implementing them accordingly. And if we can't quite implement them or they're going to be a little bit hard to pull off, we'll set them aside. If everything goes according to plan, everything is nice, fleshed out, and it's what we want it to be, and it's what you guys want it to be, then we'll also take into consideration creating DLCs in time after development of the base game. We just have to move everything in its proper format first. Right now, we're focused on the base game. That is the focus. We can always grab those beautiful ideas and interesting thematic designs and all of that rich stuff that came through the process of development that we didn't have time to implement, bring it back up and produce a DLC after we're done with the game. But again, one step at a time. It's hard to say if it'll be 1 DLC, 2 DLCs, 5 DLCs. I don't think we're going to get crazy with the DLCs. We had 1 DLC for EVERSPACE 1. Our focus is going to be making sure that the price point is fair. All of those, that's what we're aiming for. So that's the focus. That's the focus right now. So, really great question. EVERSPACE 2 as a service. Oh my gosh, Corbin. Gross. That's actually gross. All right. All right, I think we're diving back in. Wait, is there another question? I'm seeing... Tulameo is trying to target us. Did we miss something? No, I think everything's good. All right, I think we are good to go. Trying to understand the exchange here with Raziel real quick. I want to make sure that you're getting the responses that you need. Yeah, I'm just seeing a little bit of sass, unfortunately. But rest assured, the reason we're doing the Kickstarter, just for clarification for anybody out there who's wondering, is because we don't want to make a good game. We want to make a great game. We could, in actuality, create EVERSPACE 2 without doing a Kickstarter. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. We could do it. We have the funding. We could pull it off. But we wouldn't be able to invest very much money into all of its assets, into its creation, into its processes, into its story, into its gameplay mechanics, into everything that surrounds it. I haven't even mentioned marketing, but I mean, screw marketing, right? Sorry, Michael. But, we wouldn't have the funding to really do much with it, with where we're at right now. So, the reason why the Kickstarter operates the way that it does is for you to put your money where your mouth is, to help us make this game not just good, but to make it great. Because we want to work with you on it. That's why we have these various tiers that allow more content to be plugged into the game. And it's not our content. It's actually yours. That's how this works. So if you are excited, if you think it's worth investing in, if you want to be a part of this development, then the Kickstarter is absolutely the right take for you. If that's not your realm, if that's not your territory, you just want to buy a game because it's done, that's fine. That's great even. Wait until the game is done. Buy it then. Or wait until the game's done, wait a while for a sale, and buy it then. There is zero pressure here. There is zero pressure here. What we are doing is creating an opportunity for you to get involved. There you go. All right. Let's keep going into this game. So here we dove into outlaw territory. And as soon as the game loads, perfect. We are close by this planet. And I'm sure that we're going to trigger some sort of event soon, because there's this big old wreckage. Somebody's probably in need. Hello, is anybody out there? Why, yes. Yes, we are. First, we gotta take out these guys. Something that you guys probably saw there, anyone who's been playing EVERSPACE 1, there was a Weber drone there. They are making their return. Oh, those Weber drones. My nemesis. Alongside doors. That's a story for another time. Let's try and find this guy who's out in the middle of nowhere. We're getting close. Closer. Ah, there he is. We'll grab this escape pod and try and take him home. There are a couple guys flying over there, but I'm not too worried about them. Wait, there's another question that was asked? Wait a second. Would you relaunch the Kickstarter at a lower money goal if the current campaign doesn't reach a goal? That would be a question for Michael, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if it didn't reach its goal, then we would just do with what we have and produce what we can. But again, Michael would be able to answer that better than I. That question was over on Twitch. Michael, if you wanted to jump over there. But yeah, if any of you are asking questions and I'm not answering them, it's not because I'm ignoring them. Obviously, we have a number of people in chat, and I'm also focused on the game. So be diligent. Ask your questions again. You can @ Rockfish Games or @ Giraffosaur, and we will see it, be able to respond accordingly. I'm seeing some really good questions in chat. Mac is a sandwich. I see it tagged me, but I don't see a question. Alright, so we return this evacuee. Never thought he would live to see another solstice. I'm sure he's going to give us something. Game is looking great. Hope it can make the goal in 19 days. I'm hoping that it will too, but I'm thinking we're going to be okay. Thank you for your support. If I pledge the 350 tier to name a legendary item, will I name like who will be allowed? I mean, so let me give you this. One of the, no, actually I don't want to tell you that, because that could be a really fun surprise if it happens. We are coming up with some really clever names for legendary items, and I'm not just speaking towards weapons, right? Because legendary items can come in all different shapes, forms, and sizes. It could be a primary weapon, it could be a secondary, it could be consumable, it could be an energy core, a shield, a kinetic plating weapon, a valuable sensor, a thruster, it could be a cargo. You could create a legendary cargo unit should you desire that. It could be a legendary commodity. There are so many different things that you can make legendary in the game designed around what you would like. There's a lot of different options. So if you wanted to go in that direction, I'm sure that we would have the opportunity to talk with you. The creative team would talk with you about how that's going to be implemented accordingly, making sure that it fits within the thematic approaches that we're investing ourselves into, all that stuff in between. But, I mean, I would be fine with a naming convention like that, especially if it was in the description of a weapon. But who knows? We could probably have the name of the weapon itself be something like that, provided the whole team agrees, it makes sense, everything moves forward accordingly. So, yeah. And before ignored, I just answered your question. Anything can be legendary, that's right. Razul, this is the community stream that we do every Wednesday and Friday. So what we're doing is we're presenting our ideas out on the table with where we're at, what we're doing essentially, what the game's going to be like, so people get a first-hand look at the game, and also provide a space for people to ask questions and provide any feedback in the current game state. Granted, a lot of the feedback we get right now, it's not as effective because there's not a lot of content in the experience as of yet, but rest assured, that can be used to further the progress of development down the line. It's really just a community stream for you guys so that we can all be in conversation and be as transparent as possible through the course of development. That's the main thing. Seems like an approval on Uwu. I mean, I wouldn't call it an approval. I would say that we have to talk about it internally based on what item that you would generate, right? So if it makes sense, okay, we could probably pull it off, but we're going to have to make sure it aligns itself within the game as well. About how many stations, locations, points of interest are there in each system? This is another really great question, Geometry Prime. We have about, I think there's 8 systems that are presented here. 8 systems that are presented here. That number could go up. It could go down. Who knows? I'm guessing it would probably go up. It would either stay or go up. We have approximately 10 locations in each solar system. that number could also easily go up. In fact, I think in our current dev build, we have about 15 unique locations in the first solar system, for example, more than the spots that you see here. So it's very likely that the end game, you're going to have well over 100 unique locations to go and explore, handcrafted unique locations to go and explore, while also having interdictions and unknown signals and various sites pop up along the way that will present randomized locations to keep things fresh and new. It's a really good question. Just back to EVERSPACE 2. Wondering if I would be able to understand the story without having played EVERSPACE 1. There will be a lot of opportunities to do so. Hoi moin. So yeah, there's also a video on the Kickstarter page actually that allows you to see it. It's a YouTube video. It says EVERSPACE full story. You can click on that and watch it if you want. Yeah, that's why it's there. Will there be jump gates or will you make hyper jumps between systems? Yeah, between systems, like we were at this point right here that had the jump gate. It was right next to this planet. You'll see that line extends all the way over here to this site that you can't see. That jump gate is how we're going to get back and forth. There could be other means of traveling from location to location. We saw that in EVERSPACE 1 through the use of wormholes. So there's a lot to be discovered, a lot to be explored. Maybe there's shortcuts and whatnot that we'll be creating along the ways as well. So good stuff. Loot boxes in EVERSPACE 2? Heck no. Nope, that ain't us. Still just poking around for your questions. You guys have been great asking all of these things. It is solid. I'm glad that you're questioning our processes as well, saying, why do a Kickstarter? What about loot boxes? How does this function in community engagement? You know, anything and everything. You guys are throwing out some really solid questions. Thank you for being a part of this stream, because this stream is for you. It's great to be able to interact with the community, to get on the same page and create something that we can both be really proud of. So seriously, thank you so much for that. All right, let's get back into this. We've been talking a lot. We saved this guy, our small GMB outpost. Let's see what's for trade here. We're going to do some gameplay, and then we'll answer some more questions here. So first things first, let's see. I'm not going to buy that. Not really a lot of stuff. Ooh. Oh, all right, we'll take this. And we'll sell these items that aren't nearly as good. Another blaster, some copper. Excellent. Very good. So we've built up our ship a little bit. We're going to go exploring into this little hole over here just because... Oh, wait. We forgot our earth wine that he gave us for saving his life. Earth wine. We'll just hang on to that. So as you can see, like, this is a commodity, but it's a rare commodity, right? There'll be different types of commodities that will have different prices depending on which stations that you travel to, may be owned by different factions. Maybe one particular faction, say a specific outlaw faction, really needs small arms. They really need them for some heists that they're doing. They're just really shady. But man, if you can sneak them past the GMB that are right outside of where they exist, dang, you can get quite a profit from that, right? Or you can have another commodity, like something like earth wine or other forms of liquor. Maybe the GMB really want that stuff, but the outlaws are coming after you like nobody's business because alcohol is like their lifeblood, right? Who knows? There could be a lot of different opportunities with commodities. There will be a lot of different ways that it'll interact with the economy within EVERSPACE 2. We're looking at different ways to make it meaningful, impactful to the player if you are trying to be some type of trader or smuggler type, so that it's not just a stagnant single-player experience, right? So, much room to do many things. Let's poke about here. This is a really gorgeous little site. I really like this. Just all this crystal in here. Nice little textures and details. We'll just pick up all these items. Perfect. Whoop, excuse me. All right. Now, oh, we missed those credits over there? That's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and fly over to this site. It's just a little site. see what's going on over here. Is EVERSPACE 2 compatible with sim tools and other motion systems? We do have HOTAS support, so if sim tools is like a HOTAS experience, then the answer is yes. I'm not familiar with sim tools. I don't know if that's what it's specifically referring to. Are there items, legendary, you really need to spend time on? Maybe need to farm stuff in different locations? Oh yeah, there will be a lot of different locations that have different types of rewards and different quests that you go on. And there will also be unique items that you gain for specific quests. So, for example to that, if you were to, like, say there's a guy, we're going to just name him Casper. Say there's a guy named Casper, and he's asking you to do a very specific thing, like, go find my lost dog. He was in a space capsule on this transport. I'm completely winging this, by the way, completely making this up. But say you go get this dog, you bring it back to Casper, and he's like, oh my gosh, that had to have been rough. And then he presents you with the legendary item that's just called Wolf. I don't know. And so this weapon, whenever you fire it, maybe it makes a dog's barking sound. Sure. Great. But you can only get it from that quest. That was really obscure. I hope that you tracked that along the way. Basically what I'm saying is that there's a lot of randomization through the itemization systems that we're utilizing, right? Because I'm picking up stuff that has random modifiers to it. It's going to make things great. There are going to be legendaries that can just randomly drop as well, that have a fixed item type properties to them. But you will also absolutely be able to seek out very specific items by doing very specific events and very specific quests in order to acquire them. They're probably not going to be so easy, though. So if you want that level 20 hyper light beam laser known as Wolf, you're going to really have to work for it up through the game until you can accomplish that task. Alright, so this little site has a cooling unit and liquor, which we're just going to procure. And these guys spawned in. This guy is now upset because I removed a vermium bacteria from its cooling. They're worth a fortune, he says. So now he's after us, this little smuggler right here. They'll multiply themselves to extinction in barely 2 minutes. How should I know that you keep your drug lab in a random wreckage? A solid point. We're just going to go ahead and take him out, even though he's going to still talk. He says, shut up, feel bad and choke on my lasers. Joke's on him. And now we're going to take these bacteriums back to this base and sell them. Anyone interested in some Varmium cultures? Let me see. Holy grazers, they need to be put on ice. 600 credits for just grabbing it and selling it. Sure, I'll take it. It's a deal. Who knows, maybe I got ripped off. Maybe I'll learn about that element at a later point in time in the story. In the meantime, we're going to grab this shadow creature. This guy is new. This guy is a little bit different and exciting. This is another little mini game that you could find in certain areas where basically you have to find another creature. But the caveat is that you have to do so in the shadows. Because if you go out into the light too far... Actually, this is a good position. I'm actually really glad I found down here. If you go out into the light, he'll actually get hurt. So you don't want him to get hurt, because he's your little shadow buddy. So where can we go that prevents us from getting hurt? We're just going to keep going this way. Oh, too much light. You actually see him turn white there. So we're going to go down here. Oh, way too much light. Keep going down. Stay in the shadow. I think we're going to have to just boost over. Oh yeah, barely in the light at all. Take him over to his buddy friend. Boom. And we get a dark matter reward. This reward could be something far more interesting. Maybe it could be some sort of like It could be anything. It could be anything. Right now, it's just kind of a placeholder, if you will. Just a little bit of dark matter that we can use to trade and sell. Just for a little bit of goods, a little bit of credits. Dark matter, perfect. Sell all this other stuff. We don't need it. See you later, Earthwind. Excellent. And now we have this base over here that's left. We can go fight that. I'm going to check and just make sure we've got all the questions answered. It's because you guys are asking really great questions. I see Michael is doing some hard work over on YouTube. Thanks, Michael, for your dedication to the cause, of course. Also, Matt Samaria, you're being a rock star. It's really appreciated. Not sure about customized UI elements just yet. This is an accurate statement from Matsumuri. A lot of UI elements. I know we're going to have more control over organization within the cargo. Like, for example, even in our current dev build that you guys don't get to see, unfortunately, right now, we have like little selectors in the cargo that show you, like, it organizes it based on when you found it versus what's most expensive versus what you have the most of versus this, that, and the other thing, so you can organize it based on rarity, stuff like that. Obviously, management's going to allow you to tweak and modify various things. Your missions are going to allow you to do a lot of stuff there. But overall, like the UI, you see, like I'm blocking it right now. But like even if you do controller, here, let me show you a little bit of the variation and change of the UI, just going from mouse and keyboard to controller. Just out here flying around. Just take note in the lower left corner in particular. See how it changed? See how it changed there? So we still have full range controls using on controller, but now when we hold down the X button, you'll see in the middle that if we push up, we'll activate the EMP generator, and if we push left, it'll activate the weapon overdrive. So you kind of see how that interaction goes. And if you look actually behind me, when we hold the B button, we also have that same sort of element going on with all of these features here. See how it's like popping in and out right there? It's because I'm holding down the B button and then I can push up, down, left, right accordingly for each one of those elements. That's going to be like the variation. Little details like that we're working in to make sure you have the greatest range possible on controller, since there's a lot more going on, a lot more options to have in EVERSPACE 2 than there were in EVERSPACE 1. Now I'm a PC, I'm a mouse and keyboard player myself, so we're going to stick with that for now. But I am actually sure that we will have ways to customize your controls more to your liking through key binding support. UI is still up in the air right now. That is something that's going to require a little bit more finesse, especially with where we're at in the game space. Do you buy and sell ships from stations, or do you just pick them up from your home base like in EVERSPACE 1? Oh, there's definitely going to be more about ships that's revealed later this week. But rest assured, you wouldn't have a home base. Like, even in the demo, the beginning of the game, like, the home base has 3 ships. How did you have 3 ships to choose from? Surely, there must be a way to acquire ships in the game. And we will definitely talk more along those lines in the future. It is definitely something that we want to keep a really rich and meaningful experience, because who doesn't like to own multiple starships? And if somebody says, I don't like to own multiple starships, I say, nay. Nay to you. I see a liar. Alright, trying to take out these anti-missile drones. Perfect. Alright, and we've got this bigger guy right here. We're going to try launching some mines at him. Beautiful. A little bit harder to hit with mines than missiles. So we'll swap over to our missiles and just give him the goods so we can take his. Nice. Alright, well, where's that base at? Ah, yes, here it is. Unreal Engine 4 is the engine behind the game. That is correct. Problematic. And it's not problematic for us. Veritas, I see you. Concerned about copycats. So you're looking more at like models and stuff of how games get made. I mean, I think something to keep in mind is that we are at Rockfish Games, we're a company that wants to really compete with some of the top-notch games out there, right? Like, visually, a lot of people say that we look like a AAA studio, and we're absolutely not. We're a 20-man team. EVERSPACE 1 was a 10-man team. And in order to present something that is, like, super powerful, we kind of need a little bit of help. It's not the route that everybody's taking, I wouldn't say. It's not like all indies aren't doing this. A lot of indies self-fund themselves. They're one-man, two-man teams even. Then you also have AAAs that focus very heavily in microtransactional systems and free-to-play models. Like, everybody has a different model that they choose to go about their process, and this is just what we're doing. We really want to have solid interaction with our community, and so we're using a crowdfunding campaign. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. That's just what we chose. That's it. Music sounds great. Good to hear. Yeah, we actually have a music guy on the team. On the team, he did all the music for EVERSPACE 1, did all the sound design. He actually helps out with all of the video editing and productions of like the vlogs. He's a jack of all trades. He's got a lot of great skills. So a lot of what you see whenever like the vlogs come up, you have to give Giho a lot of thanks. He's a swell chap indeed. Very smart man. But yeah, in a recent patch, he's actually gone through and reworked some more sound design for weapons. So even like what you're hearing here, like the sound design's not, like, it's not done. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't have to say that because, you know, it says prototype down in the lower left corner. But like, we're making some really meaty, beefy sounding weapons. So it's going to feel great when you're blasting your opponents in space. Is it realistic? No, there's no sound in space. Is it fun? Yes. So we're doing it. Alright, so we've taken out everything on the exterior of this base. And now this site has opened up, where we're just going to barrage it until it explodes. Beautiful. Well, that Gatling doesn't do hardly anything to its shields. But that's fine. Now that his shields are down, we can drain this hole pretty quickly. Awesome. Let's go collect the loot. Large range sensors, boost thrusters, copper. Wonderful things to sell. Alright, so there's also another item that floated down here, and I want to see what's like underneath this base as well. So let's go ahead and float over here. And we see this debris is in the way, but you can also see that we can grab it. So we're going to grab this debris, and we're just going to back our way out. Get out of here. We're going to do that with this as well. Just grab this plate. Get out of here. Oh, whoops. Careful. Careful driving around. Alright, now we can kind of sneak on through here. Yeah, there's not much. But underneath the base seems like a nice place to hide something. Unfortunate there's not much here to take. And we would go out this way, but there's actually a shield. So we really did sneak underneath. But at some point, we'll have a lot more to show you regarding regarding bases and what they offer. So maybe there might be other means to not only extract their exteriors and underneath, but maybe also inside as well. Something that kind of goes along with our mentality of having smaller ships. So we'll see what happens. We have another ancient damage glyph and some guys over here. So let's just go meet them where they're at and have some fun. These guys made Galaxy on Fire. I remember playing it on my Sony Ericsson K700. Excellent. Denelvist says, if I donate 40 euros, can I share the demo with my friend? The demo is going to be a Steam key, so it'll be on your Steam library. So if you give access to your Steam library to your friend, I suppose you could do it that way. Sure, if that's what you'd like to do. It's not going to be just like its own independent, like... excuse me, it will be independent in the sense that it's its own game. Like, that's going to be separate from the alpha and the beta. The alpha that turns into the beta, that turns into early access, that turns into the full game. So those will be distinctly different pieces. But it's not going to be something where it's like, I don't know how to say, basically, you just like put it into a folder and send it to somebody. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there was anything else I missed real quick here, just looking through. Well, the sound you hear could be from the vibrations. Oh, okay, you're talking about the scientific. Yeah, like you could emulate sounds inside the cockpit. I got you, Tulameo, for sure. But if we're going for realism, then this spaceship's really not going to work, especially as we're boosting backwards and there's no thrusters on the front. Don't worry about it. If somebody wants to like get really scientific about the game, they're going to see a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, it's a video game. We're going for a realistic portrayal of arcadey space shooting. I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, I was going to these guys. We're too far away. We're going to lose our bonus. That's fine. Hostiles detected. Oh, we're still close by something. Perfect. Alright, let's see what's over in this side. And maybe we'll go change our ship just in the last couple minutes before we open up the doors for any and all questions and rapid fire for you guys. I always like finishing off the stream that way. It seems to work really well. You guys ask some really great questions, and as you all know, as I've said a billion times, we're trying to be as transparent as possible through our process. So, ask away. We're delighted to help you understand why we do what we do. So let's go back to the home base and swap out the ship. The glyphs seem kind of dumb right now. Sorry, Michael. I agree. Yeah, that's definitely not how they're gonna be in the full game. Like, especially like as a power up, right? We want it to be something that's giving you straight bonus, and right now, because you have to grapple onto it and it removes your ability to boost around, it's a problem. But don't you worry about any of that. You're not gonna have to deal with any of that stuff because that's gonna we're already on it. It's fine. It's great. It's great. We're going to fly into this home base, and I see another question. Is there going to be a loot rarity filter? I'm trying to figure out the specifics of that question, but if you're asking about, like, as you level up higher, will you essentially get better loot? I mean, the answer is yes. If you're asking about loot rarity as something like a magic find or gold find in like the Diablo series, we don't really want to go that route. That's not something we don't want it to be like you have to find stuff that helps you find better stuff, and you have to equip that stuff to find better stuff. No, if you find good stuff, we want you to just use the good stuff. We don't want you to have to put something that sucks to get the good stuff. If that's what you mean. Moving objects really opens up a lot of combat puzzle options. Yes, it's something that we're having a lot of fun with, for sure. Let's go ahead and cycle over to the Interceptor. I'm actually a big fan of using this guy. I forgot to re-equip, because actually you'll see I don't have anything good on here. This is a good little demonstration part where we can actually change to our Assault Fighter. We have all this type of stuff, and we could like move the kinetic plating out. We'll take our legendary weapon and put it in our storage, right? And we could take our valuable cargo unit. We'll just keep all this junk on there, whatever, just to speed things along. And we'll go to our interceptor here, give him this better armor, give him this better pulse laser, and give him more slots to hold stuff. And now we'll fly out, and we've got those goods at least. But more than capable of swapping, interchanging pieces in and out to your liking. Probably be some other features to help make that a little bit more feasible. But I wanted to show off this gun that is making a return from EVERSPACE 1, the scatter gun, one of my favorites actually. It's this Weber drone. Let's get up nice and personal and just pop, see you later. But it doesn't do a lot of damage to shields, even though that just... Excellent. I love how I say it doesn't do a lot of damage to shields, and I just two-shotted him. If he didn't have any shields, I would have one-shotted him completely. But that's because this bad boy has 76 kinetic damage, but it's a close-range shotgun in space. Who doesn't love that? So lots of different variety of weapons. Of course, the variety between weapons can be crazy different. Even finding 2 pulse lasers, you could see very different stats on both of those, as well as powers that might be different options to use on the same ship. You could have 2 pulse lasers as completely different weapons, for example. So it's good. Oh, I actually really like that idea. A legendary cargo slot that gives you bonus damage the more items you have in your cargo. That's actually really cool. I like that. I noticed it said medium ship class. How large is a large ship class, or what classifies as a large ship class? If you are familiar with the original EVERSPACE, it is a gunship is kind of the larger ship class that you would see. I said this earlier in the stream. Basically, the ship classes that you have a light, a medium, and a heavy. Those are the 3 ship classes. We'll have more to talk about on Friday pertaining to those, in fact. But the sizes, just to give you an idea, it's kind of like the smallest ones. If you're looking at Star Wars in particular, it's kind of like an A-Wing is a light versus a Millennium Falcon is a heavy. And everything in between. So nothing much larger than that, nothing much smaller than the prior. So that's kind of the range of sizes that you'll have a lot of customization on your looks and styles and everything in between. All right, so I know that we only just got to show the scattergun here, but we have about 10 minutes left in the stream, so I am going to go ahead and pause the game, and now it's going to be a time for us to just talk. We're going to clarify any more questions that you have, address concerns. I know some of you out there, you really don't like certain things that we're doing already, and that's fine. Let's talk about it, at least so that you can have a better understanding of why. Or maybe you really love something that you're doing, and you think that there's something that we could do even better, or, whatever. Let's talk. Let's have a chat. So I saw one question already, did get answered by Matsumiri because he's awesome. The question was, is there multiplayer? We are a single-player focused game. We want this to be a single-player experience, and that's how we're designing it. Good question. Let's see. Never tell me the odds. Excellent. Excellent. I see Caden's over there asking a question. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any of your questions. You guys have been great. Artem4142 says, community managers, can I ask some questions about EVERSPACE 1 development? Sure. Absolutely, bring them. Caden says, the story of EVERSPACE 1 is not a tale the Jedi would tell you. Jeffster will, though, once he sees your questions. Oh my gosh. Oh, Caden. Do you have plans to make the ship models? This comes from Saurbaum. Saurbaum. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. I'm trying though. Anyway, the question is, do you have plans to make the ship models a little more dynamic, extending landing struts as they come in, deploying S-foils in attack position on takeoff? So there's a lot that would be possible in the realm of dynamics. For now, our big focus is creating the player ship models, right? So it's certainly not off the table. But I don't think any of us has really been thinking about that right now. Like, we just want to make the ships look pretty, and we're just like building that right now. I do like your ideas. I think those could be a lot of fun. It also is going to depend on what the community's focus is and like what we want to build up as well. So definitely some good thoughts. I really like that. How many things of development were used from OOF3? OOF3 or GOF3? Well, Galaxy on Fire 3 wasn't ours. So yeah, there's your answer. Sour bum. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Let's see. Oh, SAR as in dinosaur. Oh. SAR bomb. Oh my gosh. Why am I still trying this? Goodness gravy. More questions. All right. Mr. Void, will parts of the ships break off when damaged? I think that could be really, really cool. That is not something that we have considered even. It's not something that we really wanted to create as a visual appearance for the player. I'm sure it could be possible. That might be something that we bring up through the course of development. But as of right now, no, that is not in the plans. Is there any bonus token for people backing both Kickstarters? Both Kickstarters. Oh, I see. From EVERSPACE 1 to EVERSPACE 2. Is there any bonus for people that have played the first game as well? Save game transfer or the like? What a fantastic question. This has been something that's been internally discussed. My question is going to be right back at you. Would you guys like some sort of benefit from having played through EVERSPACE 1 that gives you a little bit more in EVERSPACE 2? Do you think that that's fitting? I think that could be a really cool little trait, but we'll have to see what's on our plate and how that's going to interact with the save game files and whatnot, because the last thing we want to do, especially as an independent company, is to break the game of everybody trying to play just because they've played EVERSPACE 1. So definitely something that I think could be really fun. Not going to guarantee anything, but another solid idea. Excellent. Let's see, another great question. Will there be some sort of motherships to use as mobile bases for repairs and such? I think that idea sounds like a lot of fun. So there's a very large world to explore in EVERSPACE 2, right? And there's only one home base. We're right here on the home base, and you could be over here and you're in a pickle and you need to swap your ship. Surely the only way to swap your ship wouldn't be flying all the way back across these multiple solar systems back to the home base, right? Surely that wouldn't be the case. I foresee a lot of convenient elements, quality of life features, if you will, allowing the ability to travel multiple locations very quickly, as well as changing up how you specifically want to play the game based on what ship you're using pretty rapidly, right? I think that you're onto something there. Denso Taster? Man, you guys' usernames. I'm just going to call you Sir. So, Sir. Yes, I think that there would be some sort of ways to, like, maybe a mobile base sort of thing. It would be too much. I don't know how it would look specifically, but yeah, there are definitely plans to implement ways to do fast travel and changing your ship on the fly. So yeah, I mean, it's arcadey, right? It's not a simulation, so I think that could be really fun. Let's see, I guess my only question is, what would be transferred if you did do save game transfer stuff? Geometry Prime, that's a good question. I think it would be less about transferring stuff and more about flagging your game content that says, hey, I completed the storyline of EVERSPACE 1. And by completing the storyline of EVERSPACE 1, when you enter into EVERSPACE 2, it'll welcome you into the story, it'll dive in, and maybe you'll meet a character that you'd previously met in EVERSPACE 1. He'll be like, oh, hey, it's really good to see you again, blah, blah, blah. Also, because I know that you did a thing you can have this item, and boom, there's like a package deal just because of a flag was set up in the first game save file that in EVERSPACE 2 you just get because you were awesome. But if you hadn't played EVERSPACE 1 and you're playing EVERSPACE 2, that flag's not set, so the character you run into, he's not going to remember those elements because neither are you, and nothing happens. And you're none the wiser, right? So we could find ways to incorporate that in. It's a matter of, is it feasible for us? Like, is that an effective source of development time for us? Like, should we implement it? We have to ask a lot of questions internally because we have the focus to accomplish many tasks here, as you guys are, I'm sure, well aware of. But it is a really good question. So sort of like a Cador drive. Can you say anything about performance in EVERSPACE 2 yet? It is really hard to talk about performance right now because there's so much more to develop. So kind of no. I mean, the development build still runs pretty fluidly, even on lesser systems out there. But here's one point to as a reference. So we are coming to PlayStation and Microsoft consoles, right? But Nintendo, the current Switch, we actually don't have enough capacity on a Switch to put EVERSPACE 2 on. It's not going to fit. It's not going to perform adamantly. Like, it's not going to happen. So if that kind of gives you a perspective of how elements have grown from EVERSPACE 1 into EVERSPACE 2, that might also give you kind of the perspective of how things are growing technologically as well. I wouldn't even play EVERSPACE 1 with a 7-year-old computer, even though I did for an entire year, in fact, running at a really constant 60 frames per second on the lowest settings. So we're still going to appeal for whatever gaming console you have and whatever PC that you're running on, so that you can adjust your settings accordingly and play optimally for your experience. But yeah, I mean, things are getting bigger and better. We'll have more details on all of those stats in time. Are you planning to implement some kind of flight assist off like in Elite Dangerous? Absolutely. Wait, actually no. Let me clarify that. Flight assist off. Does that mean like inertia dampeners turned off? Is that what you mean by that? Because if that's what you mean by that, absolutely. If you mean something else, because I'm not as well versed in Elite Dangerous as other members of the team are, I'll need just a little clarification first, and then I'd be delighted to respond. More questions. How many workers came to Rockfish from Fish Labs? The entire team of Rockfish, when it was first established, were handpicked by Michael and Christian themselves, the creators of Galaxy on Fire. When they created Rockfish Games, they chose the best team members out of Fish Labs and created a 10-man team. Then from there, we've grown to 20. We've gotten a couple more of those original developers back to us, but unfortunately we don't have everyone. It's just one of those processes where sometimes you just got to do with what you got and roll with the punches. But we have a pretty healthy amount, I would say. I ask again. Oh, I missed this one. Sorry about that, Swar911. I ask again about crosshairs. I know it bind to a weapon, but some of these are bad and hard to aim. No offense. Can we modify or change it? Well, saying that they're bad or harm to aim, that's going to depend on skill levels, and it's also subjective saying that it's bad. But if you are saying that like you don't prefer it, that's totally fine. There will definitely be options to modify the size as well as mouse sensitivity options, stuff like that, much like it was done in EVERSPACE 1, but also better. We learned a lot from how we implemented those elements before. We even had some of those features come pretty late to EVERSPACE 1, including the resizing of UI elements. But rest assured, we'll have more flexibility and maybe even have more customization to the UI elements coming into EVERSPACE 2 as well. Time will tell. We'll have more to showcase for that when it's ready, of course. But if you don't like it right now, I wouldn't worry too much. There's a lot that's going to change and a lot that's going to get a lot better through this experience. A good question. Let's see. Flight assist is very much like inertia dampeners. Excellent. Yeah, you can absolutely turn off inertia dampeners in EVERSPACE 2 whenever we get there in the full game. As of right now, like, you don't actually even have like subsystems on your ship. There's no subsystems you even have to worry about whatsoever. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to rapid fire the last couple questions. How does the save system work? Basically, we're still actually working on that, but what I want to tell you regarding that is because it's a looter shooter in space, we don't want you to find something really awesome, die, and then restart from a checkpoint where you didn't have it. So we're going to make sure that the loot is the focus. If you find something, you keep it, and we'll figure out checkpoint systems, revivings, all that type of stuff down the line. Is there a cockpit view? Yes, there is a cockpit view, but not currently in the demo, unfortunately. How deep is the customization on ships? I will have more to talk about that on Friday. From a view perspective, will the ship's whole change? Yeah, there'll probably be more changes along those lines as well. The golden days of Nintendo were all the Game Boy and NES attachments. Rumble Pack? Yes, please. That's not a question. Caden. Oh my goodness. Maybe this question is already asked, but will there be a playable demo? If yes, when? The demo will be launched to all Kickstarter supporters at the $40 tier and higher. It is basically a demo will be distributed to anybody and everybody, to those Kickstarter individuals. You can play without worrying about any streaming regulations or anything. Like, do whatever you want, whenever you want with the demo. And then the alpha will begin next year, earlier on, which will transition to the beta, which will transition to early access, and the full game will be released in 2021. So a lot of times to get involved with development, put your money where your mouth is so we can make this together. Would you be able to see fallen pilots floating in space after destroying their ship? That is a level of detail that I think could be cool. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's something that's kind of up in the air right now. Good question, though. Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Absolutely 100 duck-sized horses. That would be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's see. Any other questions? I think that's it. Guys, you have been great. Thank you so much for throwing stuff at me. I hope that this stream has informed you a little bit more about what we're doing here at Rockfish Games and what we're doing with EVERSPACE 2. If you like what we're doing, I ask that you consider supporting us in our endeavor. If you don't like it, you know what? Ask us more questions in future streams. We're going to be doing a lot of these. I want to make sure that you have a strong understanding about our process and you know exactly where things are. We want to be as transparent as possible, and we don't want anything that seem like it's like secret or we can't tell you anything like that. That's not our game plan here. We are along for the ride with you and through you. Any other things? I'm going to toss up this page one more time just because it has all those beautiful links. Oh my gosh, discord.gg/rockfishgames. That is where you're going if you want to have continued conversation even outside of these streams and presentations, as well as following us on Twitter at rockfishgames and everspace_game. And the Kickstarter link is right there, the bit.ly/ES2KS. Couldn't be more simple than that. Guys, seriously, you have been amazing. I have been Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Thank you so much for allowing me to serve you with all of your questions, concerns, and desires. And we will meet again in the next stream on Friday when more information's dropping. Giving you the heads up right now. I don't know if I was supposed to say it or not. Sorry, Michael, but not sorry. See you then. Toodles!